Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, Senior Pastor of New Life Christian Center, located at 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. If you are ever in our area, we invite you to come and worship with us. Every Sunday, service begins at 10 a.m. We invite you to come and experience a better quality of life. There's parking on Hillcrest. We are the brown brick building located right on the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road. And as always, service begins at 10 a.m. with intercessory prayer and then praise and worship. And if you're not in our area, we go live with the Sunday sermon at 10:45 a.m. So tune in on Facebook, YouTube at New Life Christian Center Pastor Pope when we go live every Sunday at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware. And as always, Monday through Friday, we are right here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you will save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, and those of you who use the QR code or the link that are posted on Facebook and YouTube, we thank all of you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So we are really excited to just continue to remind everyone we are so thankful for all of you being with us for these 5 years that we've been broadcasting. This month has made our 5th year anniversary of live streaming and broadcasting right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, and of course for the Sunday sermon at New Life Christian Center Pastor Pope on YouTube. So we thank all of you for continuing to tune in and continuing to support. We ask that you will continue to encourage your family, friends, your loved ones, your co-workers, your colleagues to tune in so that they too will have a place to go and receive daily divine direction from God, and that they can hear a word from the Lord every Sunday on Sunday sermon. We are Facebook Live. We are YouTube Live at Daily Divine Direction, Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and for the Sunday sermon at New Life Christian Center Pastor Pope. So I want to remind everyone, we are also asking that you will stay connected with us throughout. We want you to be connected with us throughout the week. We want you to actually stay tuned in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on our internet radio station, WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio, which we have launched this year at WKAPfaith.com. We play music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. And so, as you may have noticed yesterday, and I'll say this for all of our new listeners and viewers, yesterday was the first Thursday of the month, and with us, as always, on the first Thursday of the month, her scheduling permitted, we have with us our monthly contributor, Rebecca Bouva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com. You can go to her website. You can see all of the media that she's doing with us. You can see all the information that she provides for enhanced health and wellness, and you will be able to identify the insurances that she accepts so that if you contact your insurance company, you may be able to become a client, and you will be able to have your own dietitian and nutritionist who can help you to enhance your health and wellness every day, every week. And so I will say this to you. Yesterday we talked about bone density and bone health, and I have to say to everyone, particularly if you're in our area, because of the 4 seasons we have, today is a glorious day here. And as you may notice, I only have on one wrist device, and the reason is because the other one's being charged, because as soon as this broadcast is over, I'm going to get out of my suit, get into some running clothes, and get in a good run. Normally this is not my day to run. This would be a day to go and play golf in the afternoon. However, I have a busy afternoon, so I figured a 45-minute run, which will do me about 4.5 miles, would be better than missing being out playing golf. So I want to say to everyone, if you're in our area, get out and get a walk in, get a run in, whatever you can do to enjoy the sunlight, the temperature today, which is a glorious temperature, and it is a beautiful day here. And if you're not in our area and you live in a climate that is warm year round, first of all, you need to know I thank God that you have that blessing. But you need to be doing this year round. This is something you really need to take advantage of on a consistent basis, because it slows down for us. Now we go to, we do work out in the gym, at home. We're all trying to enhance our health and wellness. But if you're in an area where you have warm climate year round, you should take advantage of that. Get out and get some fresh air. Get some exercise. Really focus on improving your bone health, because as we get older, we know that our bone health is going to be affected. So we want to make certain that we try and do everything that we can. And Becca, we thank her for always being with us every month, because she gives us a lot of information that's going to help us enhance our health and wellness. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. I mentioned to everyone, there's been a lot of communication about relationships and, love and and personal relationships, romantic relationships. So we're going to be going through many of them this last quarter, but one of our listeners and viewers sent in a communication, and your question was, why are you not finding the man who meets your expectation? And this is a little different than one of the communications that came in earlier in the week, but I'm going to go back to this point. You want someone that's going to meet your expectations. It's not your job to be searching for a man. That's first and foremost. It's not your job to find him. It's his job to find you. But you also have to make certain that your expectations are realistic. So I'm not telling you that you should lower your expectations. What I'm saying is you have to make certain that your expectations are realistic. So think about this. One of the things that you find challenging is that you want to find a man who is just like your father. And yet you're dating men who are nothing like your father. So I will say this. It's for fathers, it's a blessing for all of us. I heard my daughter say that. She wanted someone who was like me. And she said, I want someone who does all of the things for me that you do for mom. That's what she said to me. And she said it to my wife and myself. And we kind of looked at each other, and we didn't really know she was paying attention, but however, she gave a whole rundown of what she has witnessed me do. And that's not to say I'm perfect, and that's not to say that I'm the ideal man, but that's her perception. Her perception is, I've watched you do certain things, And I want someone who's going to do the same thing for me. That's the type of man I want. Now, whether or not she does that is a whole different topic. But the whole reality is that you want someone who is like your father. And your father has been very successful. He has, raised a quiver full of children. You have numerous siblings, and you've watched him provide, and you've watched him do all of the things that a man is supposed to do. He's loved his family, he's nurtured his family, he's taken care of his family. All of you have gone to college. You are, your father has been a great example. And your expectations are that that's exactly what you want. But your expectations have to be realistic in the sense that we're in a different time period than your father. And also, you may encounter someone that doesn't have the exact same level of success as your father, but he's having some success. I'm not saying lower your standards. I'm saying just make certain that you don't overlook the man that God has for you because your expectations of him are to be able to raise a quiver full of children, to be able to provide for a quiver full of children. And, there may be some limits to that, but at least if he's being the very best that he can be, he will get to that place. I looked at this communication and I was prayerful about this communication, and I realized that, my daughter was essentially saying that she wanted someone who would do the things for our family that I've done as a man, that God has done through me. I use this example all the time because I use this with students. College was, in our household, was mandatory for our children. It wasn't an option. And you've got to set standards in a way that will meet the quality of life that you anticipate. It was always our expectation that our children would become homeowners. You've got to set some expectations. That's absolutely correct. But, however, I don't want you to confuse expectations with, I got to have a baller. I got to have someone who is, going to rent out Disneyland for myself and my children for the day, and no one else can come in during those hours. That's a little different if you're in a position where you have to protect your children from kidnapping, or you have to protect, we all want to protect our children from that. But, it's a little different if you got paparazzi following you around daily. It's a little different if you, there are certain dynamics that have to be done when you are placed in that situation. But that's not what you should be looking for. You don't need to, you don't need to look for someone who's going to be giving you a life that is going to require 24-hour protection, unless that's what God has appointed for your life. And even then, we have to realize what the limits to that are. We have to make certain that we are not placing ourselves in harm's way. In other words, what I'm saying is you have the right to expect greatness for the person that God has appointed for your life to become as great as God has purposed for them to become. You just have to realize that, first and foremost, for all you ladies out there, it's not your job to find the man. And in your case, you said the man who meets your expectations. So you got to realize, so you shared some things in your communication. The reason your father's had some success, because your father's had a career that has been in the public eye, and has generated a significant amount of wealth for your family. And so you're saying your expectation is that. And that's fine as long as he's being the best that he can be, but he may not be in the public eye. And you should be okay with that. Everyone doesn't have to be in the public eye to build wealth for their family or to build a great quality of life for the family. You don't have to be a celebrity. Your father has been a celebrity. He's been celebrated in the public eye. You may not find that man, but you can find someone that's doing something great that will allow them to provide for your family. You're used to being in the public eye because your father's been in the public eye. And so therefore, that's your expectation. That may not be the man God has assigned for your life. That's why God gave you the father he gave you, so that you could have that experience and get an understanding of what the world is like. You know, I'm thanking God every day that you're a Christian. Your family is raised with Christian values. Your father is a Christian man. He's just been celebrated by society. You know, when we entertain society, they celebrate you because you've entertained them. But if you're not entertaining society, they don't celebrate you, but you can still have that quality of life. I'm not asking you to lower your expectations. I don't want anyone to lower their expectations. I want everyone to have great expectations. Then you have to be willing to work in whatever your sector of business is or whatever your profession is, to work to get to the level that will allow you to achieve what God has appointed for your life. Now, I'm not suggesting that you bring home a goat to your parents to meet. I'm not suggesting that to you. I'm suggesting you should wait patiently for the man that God has assigned for your life. He will find you. You don't have to search for him. It's not your job. So for all you ladies out there, it's not your job to search out for a man. It's the man's job to find you. And then when he finds you, you have to look at your expectations and make certain that your expectations align with the man that has appeared before you. And then you have to trust God that whatever God's doing in your life, he's provided the right person for your life. And so being as a Christian, first of all, you should want a man with Christian values. That's just reality. You should want a man who loves God more than he'll love you, but then he'll love you with the love of God. See, there's certain things we have to do to line up our way, our will, and our world with God's way, God's will, and God's world. God created all of this. He has a way that will allow us to not only experience his grace and his mercy, but to experience the quality of life that God has appointed for all of us. And we know what that is because he said, I came that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. You know what's really interesting about that, and I'm not going to preach today. You can tune in on Sunday to the Sunday sermon. But what's really interesting about that is that Christ said, I came that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. I came that you might have life while you're living. And then eventually that you will maximize the quality of life. That you'll experience the fullness of God. That you'll maximize the fullness of God. And what that looks like is that you will create a legacy that will live on, not in name only, but that it will have an impact on the future, on your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren unto the fourth and fifth generation, and that it will have an impact on the society in which we live. The world will be a better place when you depart than it was when you came in. The world will be a better place because you will do something that will have an impact on the lives of others, that in them that impact will live on forever. You know, it's amazing to me that we haven't been taught that in the church, that we haven't been taught that in the Christian culture. We've been taught to just focus on being who we are. We've been taught a lot of different things about abundance. We've been taught a lot of different things about living your best life, but you can't live your best life unless it has an impact on others. Let your light, my wife and I talked about this just this morning, let your light shine before mankind, that others will observe your good work. You can't work your way into heaven, but others will observe your good work and glorify God. They will be thankful for your presence here in life. They will be thankful that you were here. And so we have to make certain, and I know I spent a lot of time on your communication today because this is important. And for men, our job is to find the one woman that God has appointed for our lives. We've got to search through a field of rocks to get to that one diamond that God has polished, refined, and polished for our lives. There's one of them for every one of us. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will place you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are frustrated about the past and keep revisiting the mistakes that you have made, which sometimes causes you to get stuck right where you are. And you want to know, how do you get beyond that? So here's what's interesting. Let's think about it in these terms. You know, when you make mistakes in life, people will remind you. Society can remind you. But it's not necessary for you to keep reminding yourself. You know, there's the only way you're going to get beyond the past, get out of being stuck where you are about the past, is to move forward. You know, you have to really focus on every step that you're taking to continue moving forward. What does it look like for you in the future? You're living in the present. The past is the past. It's over. But you're living in the present. So what can you do in the present that's going to have an impact on the future? What can you're living today. Today is today. What can you do today that's going to impact tomorrow? What can you do today that's going to impact a week from now? What can you do today that's going to impact a month from now? What can you do tomorrow that's going to impact a year from now? That's how you get out of the muck and mire, being stuck where you are. You've got to get beyond that. And the way that you get beyond that is believing beyond what you can see, believing beyond where you are right now. Where you are right now is a good place. You're doing what needs to be done. You're functioning in life. You're making progress, but from time to time you get stuck because of the past. You get stuck there. You say, watch this. So you're not married, and you think about the mistakes you've made in relationships. But now you know they were mistakes. So now you don't have to revisit those. You don't have to do that again. You don't have to make that mistake again. We're all going to make some mistakes. But you don't have to make that exact same one. We all have to realize that mistakes are learning experiences. They're life learning experiences. We now have a better understanding. And because we have a better understanding and realize there's a better way to do things, we can now do new things that create new opportunities and allow us to maximize our potential. So we have to do that. We have to focus on that part of life. We live in the present. We work for the future. Focus on the future. What am I going to do? So, this is a real simple example. So, I was at one of our Achievers Academy today, this morning, and immediately following the Achievers Academy, I went by the church. And then when I left the church, while I'm doing all of those things, living in the moment, doing the things that needed to be done. So that was 7:30 this morning and then 9:30 this morning. And I'm still doing all of the things that needed to be done. And, every week, once a week, I go and I make sure that vehicles washed and waxed, and, that's on my calendar. So those are all present things that are being done every day. And in addition to that, I'm of course, I've got to make certain that our trash bins come off the curb, because Friday our trash company comes to our development and picks up our trash. And, those are all things that have to be done. They're present day things. But now I'm thinking about, okay, this afternoon, do I have time to play golf? Do I have time to get a run in? All present day things, but they were also future. They were in the afternoon, and I think about, what conference calls I have this afternoon, and do I have time to, get that done? And then what am I going to do related to conference calls and, administrative things and administrative work and development and management and marketing and operations? What has to be done from an investment perspective that I can maximize my day? But all of those things are also directed for future. The responsibility of moving forward, getting beyond today. Because tomorrow, God willing, is going to come. If it doesn't, then I'm going to rest. I'm going home to be with the Lord, and I'm going to rest. But if tomorrow comes, tomorrow there's specific things that have to be done, but everything we do has to be working towards building for the future. Building for future generations and for our society. So I want to encourage you to don't spend any time thinking about the past. People will remind you. You'll have friends that you've had for a long time that will call you up and say, remember when we did this? Yeah, but not doing that anymore. We have to put the past behind us. Keep moving forward. Because in Him we live and move and have our being. This segment of the broadcast, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, this segment has been brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need: shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. I'm in Charles Tyrwhitt attire today. Suit, tie, and shirt. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York with everything you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. If you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, as always, is brought to you by Fiji Water, A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. If you're in our area tomorrow, come and worship with us at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington.